Hello, hello, lovely Love Advice TV community. Coach Adrian here on this Friday, August 30th, 2019. As always, tuning in at noon to provide you with a little bit of guidance and a little bit of positivity. Today's YouTube Live is going to be a little bit different for two reasons. Number one, because we have a Hurricane Dorian, that's coming towards Florida. And so we have to make sure that we're prepared for that, and that I get my family ready and make sure that all my friends and people in my community prepared for this. So I can't. It's going to be a little bit different and a little bit of a shorter one. And also because I wanted to talk about success stories today. I got a couple of pretty powerful email success stories in the last day or two, one on Wednesday, one yesterday, that I wanted to kind of discuss and talk about, because I know that a lot of you wonder if it's still possible, wonder if you can still turn things around, if you can still inspire the one you love. And I know that for a lot of you, sometimes hearing success stories does provide you with a boost. It does show you that you can get it done, especially when the going gets tough and you feel like your situation is hopeless. And so I got an email from a client. I'm going to call him Eric, just to keep his confidentiality. And his email read like this. He said, "You'll never believe this. Erica and I are back together. I can't thank you enough. And I'd like to do another coaching session with you to discuss." So this came in a few days ago, and I wanted to talk about this in particular because this client didn't think that he was ever going to turn things around. He didn't think that it was possible, because the situation was very complex. There was numerous breakups. His ex had a significant emotional baggage. He let her basically dominate and bully him throughout the relationship. And because there were numerous breakups, and because of how stubborn she was, he felt that his opportunity had passed. There was also very limited contact, if at all, when he first reached out to me. That was not so long ago. And he felt that he had hit, a roadblock, that it was the end of the road because of how stubborn she was, how negative the situation was. And here we are, less than a month later, him messaging me after basically he was ready to move on, telling me that things are different now, that they're back together. And, it's so easy to get caught up in your situation and to think that you are in the worst situation in the world. It's easy for you to become defeated, and it's important to know that other people that are fighting the good fight are successful each and every day, and you can be successful too. So hello to you guys who are tuning in from Lithuania, from Israel. Thank you so much for your success, for your support. We're talking about success stories here. The other one is from another young lady who in the UK, and this is what she says. We had a call after your discussion. I followed your plan. He slowly and consistently agreed to go with everything and to hang out as suggested. And after a few weeks of doing what we spoke about, he told me that he was being cautious because he wanted to ensure that I had really changed. I wrote the letter and gave it to him as discussed. And then he started calling and asking to see me whenever I wasn't available. He was curious about what I was doing. I continued just the way that you suggested, and it was great to see the personal development pay off. We ended up getting back together, and he sent me the message below. I'm not going to read the whole message, but basically he says that he wanted to thank her for her love, and that they were very, very happy together. And what is different from this young lady is that she actually followed the plan. There's nothing that we as coaches can do if you don't follow the roadmap. And it's very, very important for you guys to understand that. It's once you set out, to achieve this goal of getting back together, the worst thing that you can do is to let your ex, your significant other, dictate the terms of how things play out. And it's so easy to look at what they do and to be triggered by, what he or she may be doing, or by a message that their ex or their new boyfriend or girlfriend sends to them, or by what friends and family tell you. And most of you who follow us on Love Advice TV know the basics of how to make this happen. All of you who work in coaching sessions with us know exactly what you need to do to make it happen. And quite often, what will then, at that point, differentiate you as a success story than to someone else who does not succeed is your ability to stay on course, your ability to not get overwhelmed along the way and start to make mistakes. Because then, it becomes more and more difficult, a lot more difficult than it should. So, these are just a couple of success stories that I looked at in the last couple of days, but there are hundreds of people who get back with their significant other that we help, and you can be one of those success stories too. So often, there's a lot of people that we work together, they get back together, they never tell me anything, and then a few months later, they reach back out saying, "We got back together, but then we broke up again. Can you help me again?" So the key is not to just get back together. The key is to make sure that the changes is real in order for you guys to be in a sustainable relationship moving forward and to not repeat the same mistakes, to break the negative cycles, right? A breakup is an opportunity. And it's an opportunity to find purpose and to become that higher, better self. That is at the heart of our philosophy. So again, it's a little bit of a different YouTube live for me today because there's a hurricane coming our way and I have to get prepared. But I still want to make sure that I answer a few of your questions because that's why we're here. So Love Goddess says, my divorce is almost final. How can I get him back? And Love Goddess, if your divorce is almost final, it means that you probably have a lot of things that you guys need to work on and perspective to gain. And it's important for you not to latch on to marriage or to try to prevent the divorce just out of desperation or fear of losing him. Maybe you need to let this divorce play out, right? Especially if he's adamant. And actively work on bettering yourself, being independent, so that you can organically create a new dynamic. I help people all the time that are going through a divorce, turn things around. It sometimes takes time, and there are quite a few factors that come into play, but you can do it. You can do it as long as you're patient and as long as you're focused on the right things and you're using this, again, in a positive manner, finding purpose through this crisis. Hello, everybody. Thank you for your comments and your questions. Richie says, my ex left me and it's sad she's with another guy. Don't lose hope. Continue to focus on you, because if you start to panic and to compare yourself to this other person, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. What else we got here? Okay, she says she wishes I would have done it when we were together. She's sending me mixed signals. All right, so clearly, Brian, your ex is resentful, and she feels perhaps that you're now being manipulative because the changes that she wanted to see in you are now, you're displaying those changes. But the key is, of course, to be consistent. If there are mixed signals, it's because part of her still loves you, and that's her heart, while her head is telling her that she probably can't be happy with you and that that you're going to revert back to your old self. So consistency is the key, and make sure that you're not putting her on a pedestal, that you're not acting desperate. Barkley says, after the breakup, I grew and realized I didn't want her back anymore, more power to you. Obviously, we do what we do to help you be happy, not just to get back with the one that you were in a relationship with if that's not the right person for you. So Julia says, I heard from my sister's ex that he's being pretty pissy to his family ever since the breakup, but he still hasn't reached out. Does that mean he won't come back anymore? No, that doesn't mean anything, Julia. It only means that he isn't in a good place right now, and that you perhaps weren't, the only issue there. A lot of times people are unhappy in their day-to-day, especially men, are unhappy with where they're at in their careers, and so they feel like they need to shake things up. And it's only through losing you that they can realize what they had. I can't stress how important this is. If you're with a man who was not doing well in their careers, perhaps they were laid off, or they hated their job, or perhaps they had trouble finding work after college, or weren't making a lot of money, that creates a serious insecurity. And oftentimes men feel like they need to find themselves in those types of situations. And the key, of course, is for you to not act desperate, to not be insecure, and to pull away and to continue to move forward with your life, to prove to them that you can be okay without them and that you weren't the issue. How do I get him to respond when I reach out? I've tried, Bonnie says. All right, you cannot force someone to engage with you. And the more desperate you are in trying to reconnect with your significant other, the less likely you are to actually win them back. There's a reason why they're not responding to you. Perhaps you're being way too pushy or needy, or perhaps they're not ready. And if your ex is not responding to you, whether it's a letter or a phone call or a text, the best thing that you can do is to take a step back, not continue to reach out. You're devaluing yourself. You're acting, weak, and you're losing your attraction power. And ultimately, this is a process of reseduction. It's attraction. You cannot throw yourself at your significant other or force them to connect with you. You have to be patient. And sometimes it's by detaching again that they're going to be able to miss you and to want to hear from you, and they're going to be a lot more likely to respond after you reach out to them. And obviously, there are exceptions. Every case is different. If you completely neglected your significant other, or if you if there was infidelity involved and you never apologized, perhaps it's not the best idea to just not reach out, right? So all of our advice needs to be contextualized to your exact situation, and that's why private coaching is the best investment you can make. But I understand that not everyone can afford private coaching, and that's why we do these YouTube lives, to try to provide you with some guidance and to interact with you and to show you guys that we care. How can I actually forget the past, coach? It gets me every time we have a fight. So, the key is not to forget the past. The key is to learn from it and not be a slave to it. If you continuously go back to the past, you won't be able to be in a healthy relationship. Ultimately, you need to be able to grow, and in order to create something new, you cannot hold that resentment. And it's about shifting your state of mind and being in a state of mind where you're focused on gratitude, focusing on what you do have. And a great exercise that you can do is to force yourself to only see the good in other people and only see the good in your significant other, if you're back together, that is, right? So focus on their qualities. If your significant other has 7 quality traits and 3 things that really, set you off, do your utmost to focus only on the qualities and to value those qualities. That will help you make sure that you don't get triggered or hold that resentment and continuously bring up the past. I'm going to do one more question, and then I'm going to have to go. It's not because I don't want to answer your question again, but it's a little bit of a stressful times in here because of the hurricane. So I want to make sure that I do everything that I've got to do here. Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. So ultimately, there's a few questions, so I'm going to try to do the best I can to address them both here. What do I do if my ex has moved in with her rebound? All right. So there's nothing that you can do. What are you going to do in that sense, in terms of communication strategy? You should not try to force your way back into their lives just because they've moved in with the rebound. Again, the key is to stop focusing on what they're doing and start to focus on what you are doing. It's about maximizing your attraction power, not worrying about what they do. You can't control what other people do. All that you can do is move forward and offer the best of what you've got to offer, and ultimately reconnect at the right time. But right when they move in together is probably not the right time. Again, I invite you to book a session with me so that we can provide you with a tailored plan. It's still possible to get an ex back when significant amount of time has passed. I saw a couple of messages of people that are going through a separation or a divorce, and Mitchell Miller, especially if your ex called you yesterday after 3 months, it seems like you have an opportunity. Book a coaching session with me. Let's try to make the most of it. Lovely people, I thank you for tuning in again. You guys give us purpose even when natural disasters are coming our way. I love tuning in and connecting with you. So thank you for that. I'll be here next week. I'll try to get Coach Abby also to come on and to do these so that you guys can interact with her, because she's awesome. Thank you, Richie. You guys are showering me with love, and Tasso. I am also very thankful for you guys. So keep fighting the good fight, and I'll be here again at the latest next Friday at noon to answer more of your questions and to talk more about the process of getting back with an ex. Thank you for the warm messages, guys, and see you soon.